Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Radhe Radhe, Nandini, Sarva and Amit, Dhanavad.
Dandavat Pranam.
And Srila Gurudev Anjanali, Dhanavad.
Excuse me. We will begin first with Mangalacharan, starting on page 1 of this book, Sri Gauriya Giti Guccha, with Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Day in and day out, we've been doing these programs, and I guess I can, if I don't do it exactly the same, can become a little distracted, so forgive me for that. Like our Gurudev said, first we should have everything set up, also here, and then we will begin. So, Vandeham Shri Guru. Dandavat Pranam, all those who are already present, and those who are just about to come. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahamana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Samekam Samadhutam Varjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamshra Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Kaldarya Madhurya Gunashchaitam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Pamshirasham Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Jnadaigarindi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashta पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय गौरप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्तिप्रज्ञान देशभक्तिनामिने अतिमत्यचरित्राय सश्रितानञ्चपालिने जीवदूते सदरताय श्रीराम प्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवर्षभारती देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण सम्बन्ध विज्ञान नयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमभ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये निगमारिणे रूपानुगव्युधापो सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बर सम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगमरायते गौराविर्भावभूतेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतं सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दं मतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानः स्मरामि श्रीमद्रसरसारम्भी वंशिवत्तरततस्थितः हर्षं वेणुस्वरे गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद श्वेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावं निर्वाणं Shantapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vidyavadhujivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shwadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Nam Hare Nam Hare Nam Eva Kevalam Guru Nastyeva 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 Gati Ramyata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Gurudev कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना. Page 360. Trecentosetta. If you don't have the songbook available, Jiva Pavan Prabhu very kindly post the bhajan in the comment section of the thread. Just scroll to the most recent post of Jiva Pavan Prabhu and you will see the bhajan is there with the translation and sometimes beautiful commentaries. And thank you, Prabhu, for that.
Thank you so much, Jiva Pavan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Gurudev Kripa Karke Mujhko Apna Lena. was going to do a different tune, but it goes very extreme, so I'm going to do a different one. Oh hey Vaisnava
Do that.
Thakur. No, because it was too high for me.
Oh.
There.
So it starts O-H-E-O-A Vaishnava Thakur. Page 39 in the songbook.
Go Yam Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata, page 47. Yankali. One second. I was thinking in a different God. I can't remember. Do you have Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar?
Yes,
They do have it?
I believe
I
so.
think they don't have the Vande Shri Vrishabhanu Sukapata
Yeah.
and Pashya Shakti
I
Shupam.
think they have it.
Okay, Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar, page 64.
Starts Jaya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Nityananda.
Rohini.
Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai.
Just wait till they have it. Just wait 1 minute. Just to make sure. Not yet. They have it. Thank you, Jiva Bhavana
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Vishwambhara Pada Kamalam.
And it starts on page 339. And it starts with Vande Vishwambar.
What page again?
339.
339.
Come on, where's your Italian?
Mm-hmm.
I said, where's your Italian?
I'm going to say 39 in Italian. Or Hindi.
Cello.
339. सचिनंदन गौर हरि की
जय।
हरि हरि कभी मोर होइबे सुदिन. I don't know why that one is in me.
Hari Hari.
कभी मोर होइबे सुदिन. Page 122.
And it starts with Hari Hari Kabe Mor. Kabe Sudin.
Krishna, Hoya Prema. Srila Gurudev, and was it Sheshai Prabhu, singing for Srila Prabhupada before Srila Prabhupada departed from our vision in this world. Srila Gurudev instructed Sheshai Prabhu to sing Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, same or Sampada. And then you can hear, because they had the recorder next to Prabhupada. Gurudev leans in, Prabhupada says, what? Like, huh? And Gurudev said, Shri Rupa Manjari Amare Sarvasva is our everything. And he said something I couldn't quite hear, but this is something of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And so Sheshai Prabhu sings Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, same or Sampada. And then afterward Gurudev sings this bhajan, Hari Hari Kavi Mor Hoibe Sudina. Some people claim that this bhajan is emphasizing Sakya Bhav. But actually who composed this bhajan? That is Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He is a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. So all of these bhajans, they have so many deep moods within them. And this one here is a prayer full of longing, calling out for the mercy of all of the transcendental associates of Radha and Krishna. It says, while weeping loudly, I will sing at the top of my voice, Kandiva Uchai Sware, with tears flowing from my eyes, my entire body soaked by those tears, calling out to Rupa Sanatan, all of our Goswamis, Lalita, Vishaka, all of the gopis, all of the cowherd boys, calling to all of them for their mercy, because all of them are capable of granting us entrance into Vrindavan. They all have divine love and affection for Krishna. It's such a beautiful mood. So there's that recording of our Gurudev leading Hari Hari Kavi Mor Hoibe Sudina for Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So now we will go to page 5. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktāya Namo Namah Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Nangayate Girin Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad Astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad Astottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam. Radhe Radhe.
So, that Hare Krishna tune we first heard from our friend Sachi Sutta, who also lives in Vrindavan. And it's very beautiful. Maybe I can post a link to his singing of it. And somehow Sudevi requested me to do it and something came through, I don't know. So we've been speaking about going beyond Vaikuntha, and our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj has been commenting on the beautiful teachings of Sanatan Goswami as found in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Specifically at this point about the glories of Yoga Maya, and really how Yoga Maya, the internal potency of the Lord, is flowing through everything. The fact that he can do anything comes from the manifestations which take place due to his own desire. So from his internal potency, his desire potency, everything manifests, including, interestingly enough, the material worlds. Sometimes people try to separate the material worlds as something that God has no hand in a sense. That he's kind of made it and then left it in a certain way, like a watchmaker. People have this idea. But we should understand that his influence and his energy is playing through every part of existence. Spiritual existence, material existence, every bit of existence, because there is no existence of anything which is separate from him. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, there's no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me. Everything emanates from me. Everything is really for his purpose, ultimately. So when we look at the material worlds, when we look at the material creation, and we see that we are also present within this, at least with our current material conditioned idea of who we are, then why are we put into a situation, or why is a situation created initially by which suffering will be there? There's a tendency to blame God when good things happen. Thank God for letting me win the lottery. And there's also a tendency for blaming God when bad things happen. God, why did you do this to me? But we should understand that the material energy is also part of Krishna's energy. Mahamaya is not the same as Yogamaya, but is a manifestation of Yogamaya for the purpose of deluding the conditioned souls of this world. Deluding us for what? Because we have a desire to enjoy, to be in essence separate from Krishna. Because that is the nature of the Vipin Angsha Jiva. They are Tatashta. Jivera Surupa Hoy Krishna Nityadas. All jivas, by their intrinsic nature, are eternal servants of Krishna. But Krishner Tatashta Shakti Bhedabhed Prakash. Although we are at the same time different and not different from Krishna, there is a speciality in the jiva. It is called Tatashta Shakti. Tatashta Shakti means the energy which is marginal. What does marginal mean? Marginal means we tend to go either toward Maya or toward Krishna, toward Mahamaya or toward Yogamaya. So Tata or Tatashta means like the shore of the ocean or a riverbank. So when you have the shore of the ocean, can you really determine which is the land and which is the ocean? And this is the realm of the jivas. We can go toward Krishna or we can go toward Maya. So why is there a material creation in the first place? This question was asked in Jaiva Dharma. I believe it's chapter 16. Jaiva Dharma is a most amazing literature manifested from the heart of Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur. And from that literature, our Gurudev has explained that if everything else were to become lost, if all other literatures were to burn or disappear, if just Jaiva Dharma remained, nothing would be lost. This is how much conviction he had in that transcendental scripture. He himself studied it more than 108 times, very thoroughly. And he has presented it also to the world in his translation into Hindi, into English, and into so many other languages. Jaiva Dharma means the essential or intrinsic nature of all jivas. So in there, in chapter 16, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is explaining through the medium of the personalities mentioned in his literature that the material creation exists because Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has a particular nature. He has unlimited transcendental qualities, and one of them is known as kripa, or the tendency to give mercy, and it is quite a prominent quality. The tendency or the nature, the quality of feeling compassionate, and as a result of feeling compassionate, giving mercy. Who requires that compassionate feeling to manifest toward them? And who requires mercy? All of those who are transcendentally situated in the eternal abode, Nitya Dham. There is no possibility for Maya to touch them. Maya cannot even cross the dividing line between the material and spiritual worlds. She stands at a distance from the Lord, feeling ashamed of herself with her head lowered at the seva she has to do for Krishna. She cannot cross even into Vaikuntha. What to speak of transcendental Ayodhya? What to speak of transcendental Dvarkadham? What to speak of Mathuradham? What to speak of Aprakat, transcendental Vrindavan Dham? What to speak of within Vrindavan, Govardhan, Radha Kund? Absolutely impossible. Sometimes the idea is there that we were playing with Krishna in his Leela, and then it wasn't good enough for us. Krishna wasn't all attractive, and so then we became attracted to eating the stool of this material world. Actually, when you think about it from a tattvic standpoint, the idea is ludicrous. That means any of Krishna's transcendental associates at any moment will be playing with him and they just disappear. They fall down. And Krishna is there like, what happened to my friends? I just lost another 1,000 today. This will not happen, and it cannot happen. Because Maya cannot even cross into that realm. That's why Krishna says, Yad gatvamam nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Once one attains to me in my abode, they will never take birth or have to take birth again in this material world of birth and death. Once they have attained to me. So, why is this material world created and what is the purpose for it? So in this chapter 16 of Jaiva Dharma, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur has explained that because the Supreme Lord has this nature, this quality of karunyata, to be compassionate and to give mercy, that compassion and mercy needs a reciprocal to receive it and then to reciprocate with it. Does that make sense? Any desire he has immediately must be fulfilled, and Yoga Maya takes care of this. So if he has this tendency to give mercy, then somebody or something needs to receive it. That is the jivas of this world, of the material world, of all of the material worlds. Every universe that is manifesting from the body of Mahavishnu is filled with thousands of galaxies and thousands of planets, and so many of these planets are populated, if you read in Shastra. Just now, modern science is starting to think, maybe it's possible that there might be life on other planets. But Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, and our scriptures have spoken about this for thousands and millions of years. And on all of these planets, there are jivas which have bodies suited to that atmosphere. Just like you look in the Earth planet, you see that there are certain creatures which are suited for water, others which are suited for the air, others which are suited for walking on land, and then different kinds of creatures. Some which are suited for extremely hot environments, some which are suited for extremely cold environments. And there's so many different species of life. Some which are more gross and some which are a little bit more subtle. So on other planets, according to the nature of that planet, jivas will take the appropriate material, either gross, physical, or subtle bodies to deal with that environment. But still, Brahma Bhuvanaloka Punak Pravartin Arjuna. From the highest planet within the material world, Brahmalok, down to the lowest, all are places of misery. There's some temporary happiness, Chapalasuk, some flickering happiness, but really there's a lot of suffering as one is rotating through all of the different species of life. I'm not sure if in other universes there are only 8,400,000 different species. I know that in this universe, with the Brahma that has 4 heads, there are 8,400,000 different species. But in other universes where Brahma is multidimensional, having 10 or 20 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 heads, as we've heard in that pastime, it may be that there are also or more different species of life. I have not heard, but the concept allows you to conceive that there are more dimensions, there are more ideas, that Brahma's intelligence capacity is extremely greater in other universes. So, through all of this, what is the purpose of the material creation and the material worlds? The jivas who want to enjoy separately from Krishna, in essence, are kept in the fort of this material world. The other day I mentioned that Durga means fort, but I didn't explain anything. Durga means fort, but what is that fort? It is a very, very strong prison house. Why prison? What is the purpose of the prison? Because we are not flowing with the nature of the jiva, but we are trying to go against that nature. In essence, it is kind of like doing any criminal activity. What's the criminal activity? Even in ignorance, people can do criminal activities and actually make problems. And our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada gives an example. If we, for example, come from England to America, and we are in ignorance, unaware of the law, and because we're unaware of the law, we don't drive on the proper side of the road, because in England, it's different than America. We can also do it vice versa. So,
I think he does it vice versa.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we come from America to England and we drive on the wrong side of the road due to ignorance, due to being neglectful of discovering the proper knowledge of what are the rules of the road, and as a result of that, we get into an accident and maybe kill someone or maim someone. Can we claim, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know? Is ignorance an excuse? If someone gets drunk and they're completely out of their mind and they kill someone accidentally, is that an excuse that they were drunk? They're intoxicated. So we're intoxicated by the desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. And as a result of that, ateva maya tare deya samsara duk, being captured by the material illusion, mahamaya, we are experiencing duk, which means suffering, in samsara, 8,400,000 different species of life. But what is our hope? Our hope is that the nature of our Atma, which is as a loving servant of Krishna, inherently cannot change. It is unchangeable. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, avyayam, immutable, unchangeable. When every other layer is removed, every other idea, all the subtle and gross layers, that part that remains the same as it is known as the imperishable soul. And the nature of that imperishable soul inherently is, and eternally also, because it cannot be killed, it does not die, and it never was born either. So it is always existent, and its inherent eternal nature is as a loving servant of the Lord in any particular specific relationship with any particular form of the Lord. It's already all present inherently, like in seed form for the time being. So because we are endeavoring or trying to enjoy separate from Krishna, then we are experiencing this suffering, rotating through all of these different species in samsara, through the material world. How does that benefit Krishna? Because really everything ultimately is for him, for his happiness, for his pleasure, for his benefit. So how does it work for him? Well, being in this situation, as we are, Jayavadharma explains, as we are endeavoring to enjoy or to become free from suffering in this material world, to the extent that we enjoy, naturally, because there's a cosmic balancing act, we will have to experience the balance of that. To the extreme that I enjoy, to that extreme I will suffer. And that's just the way it's made. It's the way it is. The question might come, well, why couldn't God have made it differently? Well, if we think we know better than God how to make creation, then good luck. I think there's been lots of books written about this, lots of lectures given about this. Why God does what he does, when he does, how he does, is not really up for question. It's his right, and we belong within that category of being subjected to whatever is his right, and whatever his right is right. And anything which goes opposite to that would be considered not right, but we've already discussed that before. So the Supreme Lord has this nature of feeling compassion, kripa, and manifesting mercy. Who needs it? We need it, because we are bound in this material world. So to the extent that we enjoy, to that extent we will have to suffer. Then we will strive for even greater enjoyment to counteract that suffering. And then, to an extent of our greater enjoyment, we will have more extreme suffering. Jayavadharma explains, if you've seen it like on a graph, right? It's like an earthquake getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it starts off small and then it starts going more. The waves get higher and higher and higher until we achieve extreme material enjoyment, maybe in the form of the demigods. And then the subsequent result, extreme material suffering. And from that point, the jiva can call out with a heart full of sincerity, with extreme anguish, "Oh my Lord, I am yours. Please rescue me, save me. I was thinking, Haratam samsaram drutatarasaram surapate, Haratam papanam vitatam aparam yadavapate. This is in Jagannathashtakam. Of course, the devotee does not question or ask the Lord for anything. But the jiva, who might be suffering in this material world, when he has not yet come to the path of devotion, may cry out with a heart full of extreme anguish to the Lord, to any aspect, please help me. See my situation. I'm drowning in this blazing oil fire, this ocean that's on fire. I am drowning in this and I am burning. Please, my Lord, help me. Can you hear my prayer? And that Lord who hears that prayer of surrender, Sadanga Sharanagati Hoive Jahar Tahara, that beacon sends out a signal. I'm trapped, I'm lost. Its existence is so that the Lord can express his quality of giving mercy. And if he has that nature to give mercy, because he has a heart full of compassion, then if our nature is to serve him, then what is our function in that? If he's trying to give us mercy, then how can we reciprocate? And how can we serve him? To receive it. So he's extending the rope. Then what should we do? As Srila Gurudev said to Sudevi, hold on and don't let go. Never let go. Uh-oh. How long was I gone for?
I don't know, I was just listening and so
Okay, I think the point was made. Jiva Bhavana Prabhu? Is it okay? Okay, it looks like it's still moving. So now, we will go beyond Vaikuntha together. We're going to be discussing what Srila Gurudev was discussing, Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So Yogamaya is Krishna's internal potency. Sometimes I refer to as his transcendental deluding potency, by which Krishna himself becomes unaware that I am God. Mugdata takes place. And also all of Krishna's eternal associates, especially those in Vrindavan, the Brajavasis, they have no idea that Krishna is God. All they know is that they love him and that he loves them. So there's a reciprocation of love. And their love is controlling everything. Prem is controlling everything. So this Mugdhata, Gurudev said, is by the potency of Yogamaya. By Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya is making the rules of Vrindavan. By Krishna's own internal potency, where Krishna himself is completely captivated by the love of his devotees. He's controlled by that love and affection. This is the speciality of the function of Yogamaya. She is that potency by which all of those pastimes of Krishna are able to flow smoothly, without rasabhas, without the incompatible overlapping of rasas which create disturbance within Krishna's pastimes. Meaning suddenly the gopis will become aware, oh my God, he's God. Then they might have a different mood. So Yogamaya never makes a mistake. She's Krishna's own internal, transcendentally deluding potency. And Mahamaya, which is an expansion of herself, is his material, deluding potency, by which we are bound in this material world of birth, disease, old age, and death, so much suffering and some temporary flickering happiness. Before entering into this transcendental treasure, we will pray in the dust of the lotus feet of our Gurudev and Sri Sanatan Goswamipada in the words of Raghunath Das Goswami. Vairagajuga bhaktira samprayatnair apayanan mam anubhikshamandam kripambudirya paradukuduki sanatana svam prabhumashrayami. Begging in the dust of the lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest within our hearts. Prabhu, would you please pray for us here in Santa Cruz County? Car is packed on alert for possible evacuation due to massive fires. I was just speaking about this material world as such. Yes, of course we will pray for you. I know those fires are very frightening and the winds are very high. California fires are quite dangerous. We also have family members who are always on high alert where the fires come right up to the back of their house. So praying that everything will be okay. But be safe. Be safe. Make sure you can get out of there quickly, if necessary. Okay, so yesterday, Gurudev said, the potency of Bhagavan is eternal, factual, beginningless, unlimited, and indescribable. It cannot be fully described in words, and an ordinary man, like Kishori Mohan, cannot portray its form. Only an elevated, liberated, great soul can describe a little of it. Otherwise, it cannot be described at all. That's why we are dependent upon the grace and the mercy of the pure devotees, those who are tattvadarshi, those who have the eyes to see the transcendental tattva. When they speak, what is flowing through them? Transcendental sound vibration. Shabda Brahma is flowing through them. When we speak, who knows? When they speak, it is transcendental. Every word, every feeling, every thought, even when they are speaking, hello, how are you, how is your family? Like Sanatan Goswami used to do. Still, by that connection, the heart becomes purified. Because everything they do is centered on service to Krishna. So even by that, if your heart becomes slightly charmed, maybe their smile or their glance or anything, just, oh, he spoke to me. And then your heart melts a little bit, but toward a pure devotee of the Lord, then bhakti begins to awaken in the heart. So this is different than a conditioned soul. If we associate with those who are simply engaged in mundane activities, doing mundane things, thinking mundane things, thinking about kanaka kamani pratishta, only money and enjoyment and name and fame and position and all of these things, then our mindset and our heart set will become like that. If we associate with pure devotees, regardless of how they appear to be communicating, if they are actually pure devotees of the Lord, then our heart can be purified. I mean, regardless of how they're communicating, it doesn't mean that they speak all nonsense and talk about all kinds of mundane things. But they might have some conversation which appears to be a personal kind of conversation, asking about yourself, your family, how are your children, how are things going on, to soften your heart a little bit, and then they will inject you with Krishna. It's almost like a little inoculation. Before you get surgery, there's a little talking and then a little injection, and then you feel, oh yeah, I don't feel any pain. And then they go to work. So the intention of the pure devotee is only how to awaken your loving service to Krishna, whereas the intention of anyone else might be opposite to that. How to awaken your love for myself, for example. You know, these ideas come. The pure devotee has nothing to take for themselves and everything to give. So they want to give us eternal service to Krishna. And they don't want to take our hearts or anything for themselves. They only want to dovetail all of our energy in Krishna's service. We know that we are not the body. Hundreds of thousands of times we have spoken this fact to others. But then we perform some sensual activity, and again we forget this. So we've spoken it. How many times have we said it? How many times have we thought it? I'm not this body, I'm not this body, I'm not this body. But that's not enough. Because what is the I that is thinking that I'm not this body? I'm still thinking with the subtle aspect of who I think I am. That thing, that person I see in the mirror is who I think I am. And I'm saying I'm not this body, I'm not this body. And then I'm engaging all of my energy in trying to satisfy and fulfill this. So in one sense, when we're just saying it, we're actually not being honest with ourselves. The soul inside is not the same as the false ego. Who is doing the talking most of the time? Is it my false ego or is it my soul? Right? So at this point, I like to think, oh, it is this false ego's idea. Who's talking? Who's doing? But what is the soul? What is the soul inside? In a state of shushupti, deep sleep. Sleeping to all material things, asango yang purushaha, having no real connection with all of this material stuff. It only becomes awakened to those things which are in relation with its nature. That means loving service to Krishna. Anything related to bhakti begins to awaken the soul. Any activity not related to bhakti, soul is asleep to that. You can find that terminology, Srila Prabhupada uses it quite often. Asango, A-S-A-N-G-O, Yam, Y-A-M, with a dot on top, Purushaha, that the Jivatma has no real association or connection to this material energy. But it is bound by it. It is covered. Just like taking a jewel. If you have a beautiful, beautiful sapphire or diamond, you put it in a box, and you put that in another box and another one inside those Russian dolls, one after another. Then you bury it 20 feet under the ground, and then you put loads of cement on top. Does it lose its nature? No, it's just covered by so many layers and so much darkness. So the jivas in this material world are like this, but their nature remains unchanged, despite all of those coverings. So when Sri Guru manifests, from the outside it's like he's digging, and from the inside we also have to start. Together we will make some connection. Because of the manifestation of the activities of bhakti, we can begin to awaken. So, Gurudev is saying that we can say it 1,000 times or thousands of times, but then when we engage in some sensual activity, anything for pleasing our senses, then very easily we forget, oh, I'm enjoying, I'm the enjoyer, oh, this food tastes so nice. We're not thinking, this is prasadam, this is going to purify me. We're thinking, oh, how much enjoyment am I getting from this? Oh, this feels so nice. Oh, I like the feel of that nice soft blanket. Oh, I like what I'm seeing with my eyes. Oh, the latest technology, not this one. This is the cheap, old $100 one from years ago. But the latest technology, I want that. Or a beautiful young man or young woman. You know, so many things for my enjoyment. I want to enjoy. The moment that this sensual enjoyment comes, then we can forget everything that we've been repeating again and again. If for 1 second we forget that we are not this body, if for 1 second we forget that we are not this body, then all of our determination for spiritual advancement may vanish. That's a pretty heavy statement. But Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita. Even one of the senses which is left unchecked can fully drag away the mind of even a great personality into illusion. One of the senses left unchecked. So that means if we allow it to become the enjoyer, then the rest can go along with that. I remember Srila Gurudev saying once, Because some devotees were coming and they were also leaving the mutt, and other devotees were going, "Oh my God, I'm so sad, Gurudev, you must be so sad." And Gurudev said, "No, I'm okay." And Gurudev said, "I have seen thousands come and go. Thousands. In 50 years, so many coming and leaving again. Because they've given into even a single little weakness. And again, fully pulled out into the material world." One time there was one devotee, he made some statement that I don't see any difference between men and women, male and female. And this was in terms of his preaching. And so many ladies would sit around him, sometimes many men, and there was lots of people who were sitting there. And he said, I don't see any difference. And then that message went to our Gurudev. And the next morning he came out, it was in Govardhan. He came out and he said, "You should know that anyone who says that they don't see any difference between male and female, they are fully in the clutches of illusion." We were like, whoa. Even Mahaprabhu is saying, yes, I must see that there's some difference. Mahaprabhu is exercising this. All of our Guru Varga are exercising this vision. They must have some kind of discrimination, even though they're way beyond that still. For teaching us by their own example, they are manifesting discrimination. Otherwise, what would become of us? So for our benefit, they are showing how to practice properly. So if for 1 second we forget we're not this body, then all of our determination for spiritual advancement may vanish. It didn't say it will, but it may. And then Gurudev is giving an example. It happened to such a great liberated personality as Narada. Now we should understand that Narada is actually beyond all of this, but for the purpose of teaching us, by example, he has shown us that even a great personality can also be distracted. In the Ramayana, it is said that he was the cause of the appearance of Ramachandra. So the story is told here really quickly. Once Narada desired to marry a princess, and in order to be successful at her Swayamvar, that is her marriage ceremony. Swayamvar is where any princess will choose which prince will be her suitor. So she will select and she will put the garland on him. So many princes will come, and then she will Swayamvar. So there's also the Sita Swayamvar. So many came. She was the most beautiful woman in creation. So many wanted to marry her, but she was meant only for Ram. She saw Ram, she only wanted to marry Ram. But so many were actually performing a competition. The competition was to lift Shiva's bow. Whoever could lift the bow and string it could marry Sita. So many tried, even Ravan tried. But finally Sri Ram, he lifted that bow very easily. He strung it, and then when he pulled back the string, the bow cracked in half. Sita very happily garlanded Sri Ram. This is Swayamvar. So Narada prayed to Vishnu for a face as beautiful as his. But to protect the bhakti of his devotee, Vishnu instead gave Narada the face of a monkey. So, in Bhagavatam, there's a verse there where the Supreme Lord himself states that if any of my devotee develops any material desire, I will fulfill that desire in such a way that they never want those material things again. And this is the mercy of the Lord. So here Narada is desiring to have a face as beautiful as that of Vishnu, so that this beautiful maiden will garland him in the Swayamvar. Vishnu instead gave him a face of a monkey. So apparently there weren't any mirrors there, but Narada understood that Vishnu fulfilled his desire. So he was feeling very proud of himself, not understanding why everyone else was looking at him very funny, strangely, talking like this and glancing at him. So they were ridiculing him at the Swayamvar. Narada was then told to go and look at his reflection in the pond. realizing that Vishnu had deceived him, he cursed Vishnu that in his next life he would lose his wife and that he would have to take the help of monkeys to get her back. Therefore, Nard is said to be the cause of the descent of Sri Ramchandra. This is all the pastimes of the Lord. So, Gurudev is explaining here that it can even happen to Narad. We also know of that history where Nard wanted to know something about Krishna's Maya. And Krishna was like, really, are you sure? And Narad is like, yeah, I can handle it. I'm already in this state, so no problem, just please show me. I want to know your Maya. Immediately, the environment changed. Narada sees the most beautiful woman he's ever seen, collecting water from the well. When he saw her, immediately his heart just exploded from his chest, and he begged her, please, will you marry me? She said, yes, of course. So there was a marriage, then they had a big house, and so many children, and a big family, and great-grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So much was going on, big businesses and everything. And then when he became old, the children and the grandchildren were like, this man is useless, let's throw him out. They threw him out of the house. He had nothing. He was in a very, very sad state, and he began crying for help, crying for mercy. And the next moment, poof, he was standing there in front of Krishna again. But he felt that years and years and years had gone by. So if Krishna wants, he can cover anyone. When any pure devotee is covered, we should know that this is due to the influence of Yoga Maya. When any jiva of this world, any jiva is covered, we should know that this is due to the influence of Mahamaya. So, Gurudev is explaining here that it happened to such a great liberated personality as Narad. In the Ramayana, it is said that he was the cause of the appearance of Ramchandra, which we just read. Selfishness for 1 penny can drown us in mundane consciousness. Ouch. Selfishness for 1 penny can drown us in mundane consciousness. That's why our Gurudev was always talking about exclusive, one-pointed, ekantik bhakti. One-pointed, without desire for anything else. This is the meaning of pure bhakti. Gurudev was always talking about pure bhakti. We must remain strong in bhajan, and with great humility we should perform sadhan bhajan. What sadhan bhajan means all of the activities that one does on the path of bhakti for the awakening of divine love for Krishna. Sadhan is those practices which are aiming at bhav bhakti. So we must remain strong and perform our sadhana bhajan. Only by the influence of this yoga maya, when this potency is transmitted into the heart of a living entity, will the sentiment of bhakti arise, and we will be able to properly engage in the limbs of devotion headed by hearing and chanting. How is it done? By the essence of the Hladini and Samvit potencies together, this sentiment arises in the heart of a jiva. This is called the Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryangsha Samyabhak. And this is the activity of Yoga Maya. She performs unlimited types of service in Vaikuntha, Dwarka, Mathura, and finally in Vrindavan. So this point here is quite interesting, because it is said here that without this mix of Hladini and Samvit, the essence of these two potencies touching any jiva of this world, then bhakti will not arise in the heart. So we've also heard and understood that bhakti is the inherent nature of every jiva. So something needs to awaken it. How can we reconcile these two? Wait a second. If it's already inside, then why do we need something from outside? So look at a seed. Any seed. If you have it in a jar on the shelf, its potency is there. but it is in a dormant state. It's in a dormant state, but it's still inherently within it. But something is required from outside to allow that dormant nature to awaken. Now, if we have a seed in a jar, what is necessary for that seed to awaken? It needs to be taken out of the jar, placed into any environment with enough water, with enough light, with enough nutrient, air, to be able to manifest its nature. So something from the outside is acting so that the inside can manifest. In the same way, here Gurudeva is saying, the essence of Hladini and Samvit potencies together, this allows the sentiment of bhakti to arise in the hearts of the jivas. So Shravana Kirtana Jale Koriye Sechan. By hearing Harikatha and by doing Kirtan, Kirtan means repeating what we have heard, glorifying Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. By this, by hearing the Katha, and by also repeating it, and by doing bhajan, chanting the holy names of the Lord, glorifying Krishna, glorifying his forms, glorifying his pastimes, his qualities, by this, the jiva's nature of loving service to Krishna is awakened. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Rupa Goswami, Brahmand Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach, that any extremely fortunate jiva, by the mercy of Krishna, receives association in the form of Sri Guru, Guru Krishna, by whose mercy, by the Harikatha that they are telling, Krishna Seva Vasanam, the tendency or the desire to serve Krishna, is awakened within the heart. It is awakened by that. If we do not receive that transcendental association, if we're just moving on our own without receiving that, what will our natural propensity be? If we don't receive the association of any pure Vaishnava, who will, by their Harikatha, awaken this desire to serve Krishna in the heart, then we will only be in the state of struggling to enjoy suffering, struggling more to enjoy suffering, and then we will want cessation of the duality. Cessation of happiness and distress, because we will realize that it's just two sides of the same coin. So let me become free from that. How do I become free from that? Then we will endeavor to, in essence, go back to where we came from. All right, I have left my mother's womb, so to speak. Think about an apple seed. Comes out of the apple, and it's experiencing all kinds of dualities, heat and cold and stress and all difficulties, and being moved from place to place. And it's, where can I go? I just need to get back to where I came from. Let me go back into the apple. But that's not really where an apple seed should go. An apple seed should grow, manifest an apple tree, make millions of apples, and each one of those will have so many seeds and will continue growing forever. So, where have the Vidhin Angsa Jivas of this material world come from? Manifesting from the form of the Lord. They're inside, if you want to say it like that. As he manifests everything, all the universe is full of all the jivas manifest out, and then as he breathes in, everything goes back into himself. So, out, in. So the jiva who's experiencing these dualities does not want to experience it anymore, then he will strive for cessation from suffering, which means also cessation from material happiness, which is just another side of the same coin. He will strive for oneness or noneness, nirvishesh or shunyavad, brahmajyoti or ceasing to exist whatsoever. Then you will find the mayavad conceptions, or you will find the shunyavad conceptions. So nirvishesha shunyavadi. Either one. Both of those states are devoid of service to Krishna. Therefore, they will actually not satisfy the soul. How can the soul be satisfied? Savai pungsang paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. When one develops bhakti or love and affection for Krishna, because that is the intrinsic nature of the soul, only then will the soul be satisfied, because that jiva will be engaging in the service of Krishna. When Krishna is satisfied by that service, then naturally the jiva will be satisfied. Ahoitiki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Suprasidati means complete perfection. By that bhakti, the jiva will attain complete perfection, complete happiness. So in this situation, in this case here, Srila Gurudev is speaking about this bhakti arising by the effect of Hladini and Samvit. So something is there. Some energy is necessary to crack that seed open and allow its nature to awaken. Something is necessary. There's potential there. So something coming from this side to awaken what is already inside. This is the effect of Samvit and Hladini. If that does not take place, then bhakti will not arise in our hearts. So that Samvit and Hladini is manifested through the mercy of Krishna, manifesting in the form of Guru and Vaishnavas. By the power of their Harikatha and through the practice of bhakti, then gradually this is awakened. This is called Vishuddha Sattva, and this is the activity of Yogamaya. She performs unlimited types of service in Vaikuntha, Dwarka, Mathura, and finally in Vrindavan. There are differences in bhakti and also differences in rasa. What are the differences in bhakti? Sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, vaidhi bhakti, raganuga bhakti, and within them are also nishta, ruchi, asakti, bhav, and next, in nitya siddha devotees or in sadhan siddha devotees are sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, and mahabhav. This variegatedness is all arranged by Yogamaya. So sadhan bhakti is what we should be endeavoring in at this time. It is striving with a one-pointed goal for the attainment of bhav bhakti. And the goal of bhav bhakti is prema bhakti. There's also vaidhi bhakti. Vaidhi bhakti is bhakti which is impelled or propelled by a mood of awe and reverence, even a mood of fear. That if I don't do this, then I will suffer in hell. I am duty bound to serve or surrender to the Lord because that is my nature. He is the Supreme Lord and I am His eternal servant. And if I don't do that, then I will incur some aparad. So there's something there that is maybe a feeling of force. And this is not really attractive to Krishna. What is attractive to Him? Raga Anuga Bhakti. The bhakti which is flowing in the wake of the mood of the sentiments of the Brajavasis. Spontaneous loving affection. Natural loving affection which is free from that feeling of force or duty. That love is not because I have to. The love is because I cannot help myself. There's a big difference. Right? One is like the servant of a big boss at work. He has to do his duty, and if he doesn't, he'll get fired or he might get chastised. But the other one is spontaneous. Spontaneity, spontaneous love and affection, like a mother for her child. She doesn't have to tell myself, okay, now I have to love this baby. It should be natural. These days, with so much psychology floating through the air, we get all sorts of weird ideas planted in our heads, and then we can actually start to doubt that natural spontaneity, and instead of natural love and affection that would flow, we'll cover that with something else. But without all of that nonsense additions, which are injected into our heads, naturally a mother will feel affection for her child, as you see in every different species of life. So there is spontaneity there. There's a protectiveness, a love, an affection, and also with friendship relationships and love and beloved relationships. All of these are spontaneous and natural. It's different than a paid servant. There are paid servants and there are unpaid servants. A paid servant is always thinking, I'm doing this because I have to maintain myself and I should do a good job. An unpaid servant would be like, if any of us receive the opportunity to serve Gurudeva Prabhupada. Has Gurudeva ever given you money to massage him? No, but people are lining up to do so. If someone says, would you like to wash Gurudev's clothes or Prabhupada's clothes? Devotees will jump on it, not expecting anything. Out of affection, out of appreciation, out of reciprocation, and out of a desire, and knowing that by this, bhakti will increase in my heart. So there's spontaneity. Raganuga bhakti. Within them, within these different forms of bhakti are also nishta, firm conviction, ruchi, taste, ashakti, attachment, bhav, which means rati. This is a much more deep kind of attachment with deep attraction. And next, in Nitya Siddha devotees or in Sadhan Siddha devotees, Sadhan Siddha means who has attained perfection through the process of sadhan, and Nitya Siddha means eternally perfect devotees, are sneha. So these are the different levels of prem. Prem, sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, and mahabhav. This variegatedness is all arranged by Yogamaya. So I think I'll stop here because the time is late, and Gurudev is going to begin discussing about bhakti, that it is one, it is not two. So that's a quite interesting subject. Tomorrow we will be observing the appearance day of Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj. So this is more important for us to endeavor to glorify the Vaishnavas, the great personalities. Every year our Gurudev would engage us in remembering him and glorifying him on his appearance or disappearance days. And we have also seen him, met him, and heard from him on a few occasions. So we will endeavor our best to remember some of what we have heard of his glories. Really, we're quite crazy for him. So tomorrow we will discuss something of the glories of Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Pana Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. And then we will continue going beyond Vaikuntha, and then comes the most blessed event, Srila Adhashtami. I think she needs to learn how to yodel. Udulate. Ululate. I don't know how to do it either. The Bengali ladies are very expert in it.
At least I try.
To try is bhakti, Gurudev said. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prabhupada Guru Varga Ki Jai Narayan Prabhu Ki Jai Purushottam Sachinandana Gaur Hari Ki Jai Radha Virabhari Ki Jai Radha Madhu Ki Jai Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Govinda Nam Dharmadhavete Govinda Nam Dharmadhavete Govinda Nam Dharmadhavete Govinda Nam Dharmadhavete Bolo Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai 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 Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaur Premanande
Hari Hari Bol.
So thank you all very much for being with us today and for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga and our Shastra, and for engaging us in our Guru Seva, although we are all isolated wherever we are, hopefully. Still, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to continue with our Seva and to follow the order of our Gurudev. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow to remember the glories of Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami
Jai
Maharaj.
Ho.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Radhe Radhe
Hare Krishna.
Radha Vinomi Hari Ju Ki
Jai.
Jai.